Okay, so we're back again. Today we're going to talk about a few things. I'm just checking to make sure this works. Okay. We're going to talk about a few things involving updates to the content. From here on out, all videos are going to have timestamps, and I did include timestamps on the last few videos. So I'll show you guys that. It's definitely pretty good. I think it's essential. I can't believe it took me this long to do that. This is just a work in progress, obviously. So I'll just put my ukulele there for a second. And YouTube here. Let's see here. I know I have a tendency to go off of in different directions when I'm speaking, and I speak for a minimum of about an hour and a half usually, except today. It's going to be quite short, probably about half an hour. And then that is not good for probably anybody, but especially for people who are new to the content. There's no easy way to jump in. You just have to be committed to watching about a 2-hour stream of somebody that you don't know. And that is not something I would normally do, so I don't expect others to do it. And to anybody that does, mad props, and I would sincerely appreciate it. But here, let's see. Actually, I'm trying to go here. Theory. The content. There's no easy way to jump in. You just have to be committed to watching. Basically, it's going to the stream that we were on a second ago. Okay, so yesterday, this was yesterday's stream, and it's pretty good. The stream before it, the one about eusocial and parasitic aliens, was the best recently, I think, but it was also pretty long, and so was this one. It was 3 hours, which I'm trying to keep it to 2, so I went over my limit. I'm going to try and dial that back down, but what I have done is I have added timestamps to these videos, and they are going to be in the description, here, and I might update them as time goes on. So just because there's, 5 timestamps in a video doesn't mean there won't be 10 later, as I just find parts of it that are important. But every night after stream, I'm going to be adding timestamps to videos. That's the point. And that definitely helps a lot. Who should make the rules? List of bad words. Planaria and prime numbers, and women and men and masculinity and femininity, and the day I saw God in the shower right here, because I literally had to talk about this for way longer than I was anticipating last night, and that's part of the reason why I went so long, because somebody asked about it and I had to give it its due diligence. But now it's here, and it can be referenced at the click of a button. So you can literally just click the bottom, and then it just goes straight to it. It's pretty awesome. So that is the first update. The second update is that merch is coming, and I kind of want to get some opinions on merch. I'm going to be asking the Discord community, and anybody on here that has any suggestions, drop it in the chat or share it in the Discord community or send me a private message on Instagram. I have some ideas already, though, that my wife is currently working on because she's a much better designer than me, and she also already does run like an online shop. She has a photography Etsy shop. So I'll talk when we do the merch. I'll probably like show her photography too, just because it's very good. She's very talented, and anything that supports her supports me, and vice versa. But it's funny. People, when I first, not when I first, but I mean, I guess when I was first started to share more about my life, some people in a certain Discord community that isn't very friendly to this project, was looking up my life and was just trying to figure out more about me, I guess. And I don't want to say stalking me online because that's not really what it is. But they saw that I was married. They saw that who my wife was, and they made some comments that were inappropriate. And I thought a lot about like whether or not it's I should be like, how public should you be? Should you people who see your content online know who your wife is? Should they know the city that you live in, at least, maybe, depending on the size of that city? I mean, good luck finding me in LA. And I have also experienced some really hostile, I don't know, people online, just due to the nature of my previous work and because of some instances that involved my previous work, and just people were very hostile sometimes because of me being Jewish. Mostly, but not even mostly, entirely. But I was just thinking, like, how public should you be? And I think that you should be public. I think that, like, I was discussing this with my wife pretty recently, as she was thinking about, she writes, and she was thinking about writing under a pen name or whether or not she should write under her name. She's now Miss Goldstein, Paulina Goldstein. That's pretty amazing. But we were just discussing how transparent should you be, I guess, and or how accessible, I'll say that. And I think that you kneecap yourself when you hide your life, and I think that marriage is meant to be a public relationship, and so that's how I feel. And for anybody who, actually is a threat to my family, like ever, that's why I have a Belgian Malinois and, semi-automatic rifles. But I think that it's good when you share, like, your life. It helps people relate to you, and also it helps broaden the audience of the people who could identify with I don't know, like Paulina's photography, or from her photography to my work, or my work to her photography, whatever it is. And that is an economically efficient system, and that is what marriage is meant to be to some degree. But I am getting better at this, so yeah. That last one is low because it's tuned in a low G, so you can't really do a note that isn't low, even if it's the right note. But I haven't had much time to mess with it as much as I would want, but I have labeled it and just to help me, and I have started to get just better. I did learn Happy Birthday for the sake of playing it for my wife on her birthday. But my goal is to eventually learn. I mean, I have many. I just want to be good at it, but I want to learn the Mandalorian theme song. That would be awesome. And it's just going to take me longer than I expected, because this project is taking me longer than I expected my paper. And I am also working on something very quietly. And those in our Discord community who are very involved in the discussions know what this project is. But I have been working on a social media idea for about like a year and a half. And I don't talk about it on here very much, but it has a very specific goal of helping disincentivize censorship, I guess. But I'm not going to get into the details, but it's a project that requires a lot of time. And I'm hoping to make some serious moves on it. I have been making serious moves on it, but I'm hoping to make more pretty soon. But I do that and I don't discuss it on the stream yet, but eventually we will discuss it. So when I say that I have a long-term plan for dealing with the censorship, but until then you should go to sentientsingularity.com and sign up for my email list just in case they kick me off of YouTube. I mean it. I do have a long-term plan, but I have no idea how long it's going to take. It's a monumental project. Okay, monumental. But it's more of a monumental project probably than writing a paper that describes the theory of everything. I mean, not even probably. Like, it might be. I mean, you can't just count the work that goes into writing that paper. You have to go count the work that goes into understanding the pattern that you write about in that paper, and that's many, many years. So I don't know. It's not as big as that, but it's a lot. But more later on. Like I said, merch is coming, and so far one of the I'm just gonna have like certain phrases on there, like super literal, and we also have some other ideas coming that I'm not gonna discuss yet, but gonna have some structures that we show in this and all kinds of things. It's gonna be cool. I don't know how popular it will be, but I've had multiple people ask me to put certain things on shirts or hats or things like that, and I'm gonna eventually do it pretty soon. But I mean, it's just been select people, so this will be a test. I mean, I would buy the shirts that I'm making. That's the thing. Is like, you have to, if you do a design for something, this is my issue with merch, is like, most merch is just merch for the sake of making money, and I don't really like that. I get it, but it's like, it should be, yes, it's nice to support, but you don't need to buy merch in order to support. You can just donate to a project. I donate to, people's Patreons. I don't need merch for it. But if you're going to do merch, it should be for the sake of merch, really, not for the sake of just, because everybody else does merch and makes, potentially makes money. But it would be nice to bring in a bit from this project, a bit more from this project than I have. I do value everybody that has donated to Patreon. This is another thing that updates are coming, and what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to, and this is tentative, okay, but I think I'm going to offer like private phone calls, essentially, or private discussions, Discord discussions, not phone calls, but I mean, yeah, calls, but video calls or something like that, to people of a certain tier, and for a certain amount of time. I feel bad because I've had a few people donate on Patreon, and they don't really get much from it, mainly because I don't want to produce content just for Patreon subscribers. The point of this is not to make money. That would be very nice. I do need to make money, but we're trying to buy a house and have kids, and like that requires money. But I don't want, this isn't for the sake of making money. So anything that comes from Patreon has to be something that I think is really added value. And early access to videos is not a value. And when I do make a video, I want it to go out right away. So why would I just delay it for the sake of like Patreon followers? I wouldn't value that if I was a Patreon subscriber of somebody else's like content. I donate on Patreon to content that I think is genuinely valuable. I don't donate to like get early access to anything. That to me doesn't make sense. Now, if you're going to do Patreon only access to certain things, that I can understand, and I might do that at some point, but it has to be very specific content that's not going, or access of some type that isn't fulfilled by our Discord community, which is free, but you have to ask to join. I don't just post the link. Like, you have to send me a private message and ask for the link, and then I will give you the link. But there, we host a private call on there every Thursday at 7 p.m. and we discuss for hours all kinds of things, whatever anybody wants to discuss. And because of that, I can't say like I'm going to host private calls for the sake of Patreon, because I already do it for free, and I'm happy to do it. So I think it's valuable. But one-on-one calls is something that I have had many people at this point actually, since I started this project, ask if I would do with them, and I have not done any of that. And I think I'm going to have it be a Patreon thing. I think that if I'm going to give somebody private time, I mean, I'm very busy, so if I have to give somebody private time, I'm happy to do it, but it would make sense to be paid for that. But whereas I think building a community on the Discord with a weekly call is the value is the call itself. I mean, that is a very valuable call. I mean, that I look forward to that every week, and so does everybody that participates. But private calls to discuss anything. Literally, I will discuss anything with people on these private calls. You want, I don't know, to talk about relationships. You want to talk about physics. You want to talk about politics. You want to talk about, I don't know, anything but me. Like, I'm not going to get on there and talk about, I don't know, me. I talk about me enough on here, and whatever I'm willing to talk about publicly, I talk about on here. So, at least for the most part, and then our Discord discussions. But I will talk about pretty much anything in these phone calls that I'm going to be hosting. I think that's a good idea. I haven't figured out the rates, but it'll be like a certain amount for I don't know, I don't know, 20-minute phone call, 40-minute phone call, whatever it is, or call. And I don't know if it's going to be something that is like maybe a call every month potentially, where so like if you're a Patreon subscriber for a certain amount, then or if you're a patron on Patreon, then you would get a call a month, and depending on how much in what tier you are in, it would dictate how long that call would be. So that's probably what I'm going to do. And then also eventually maybe some other Patreon specific type of offers, I guess. I don't want to just say content, but it would be like early access to like papers, maybe to like discuss a paper, or Or maybe, you know, actually, I don't even want to say that because I don't think that that's actually what I'm going to end up doing. But I would do something. I don't want it to just be Patreon specific content though. It's gonna have to be something that is interactive because that's actually meaningful. I have no motivation to do something just for the sake of money. I won't. I should not have been a finance major, but you know, you live and learn. Okay. VOA FYI. I don't know what that means, Doris, but here's the Patreon. Maybe clarify in the chat. Patreon. Okay. So here is the Patreon link. It's also in the description. I don't know why I didn't just click it. But Theory of Everyone with Tyler Goldstein is creating Sentient Singularity Theory. So these are the tiers. Right here, I'm going to change all of this. What I am going to do probably, and we're going to discuss it a bit, I'm going to start working through it on this call, actually, on this live stream, is I'm going to have a $4 a month, 9 and 19, and that might go up eventually if there's too many people one day that you know, I don't have enough time to do calls. It's like Disneyland. If it's too crowded, they raise their prices. But for now, this is fine. And we have one patron right now. We had more, and I didn't keep up with this like the Patreon that was, I guess, I did not keep up with Patreon, to be honest, in any way. I just did not. And the people that were donating were, most of them were active members of the weekly call. So it's not like they don't have access. They have like almost private access to me for like 5 hours at a time every week. So it was not, they had all of this. And so I didn't formalize it, I guess. But I'm grateful to everybody that's ever been a patron, and especially you, one lonely $3 a month patron. I'm very grateful. So what it's probably going to be, though, is let's need to work on this later, too. Quit. Come on. Okay. I have electron tier, muon tier, and tau tier. Legit. That's referencing the electrons in the standard model. Okay. So basically there's going to be 4, 9, whoa, okay, 9, and 19, and maybe 4 is a little, let me know what you think of these prices. I think 4 might be a little bit too cheap, to be honest. Maybe I'll do, it's not that 4 isn't, I don't value it. It's just like, I don't think I can provide, I mean, you know what? I'm going to leave it. It'll be like, this will be just, passive fan, passive support. And then this one, and then I'll probably do, what's next? 33. Do that. So 9 would be what I don't know. So basically calls, private calls. That's a possible one. The next one is going to be private slash private working sessions. Teaching, I guess, teaching sessions. So that'll be like for those who want to really dig into the theory once the paper's published. So that cannot happen until then, but it's something that I do want to have happen. But I will always teach about it here. But if somebody wants to really like ask deeper questions on a one-on-one setting or a small group setting, they can do it in the weekly call right now, but eventually it might be something that's reserved for this, and then the weekly call would be not. It's more like what people want to discuss. It's more of just a community conversation versus it's not a teaching session. That's what I will say. Whereas this would be a teaching session. And then we could do probably would do 20-minute call. And this one would be I don't know. Probably I was thinking about like maybe having people send in questions to discuss on a live stream. So like if you are here, you could basically either here or here be like but the thing is I have to, like, if you ask me to do a live stream on, I don't know, like something that I'm not going to do a live stream on, like, I have no idea. I'm trying to think. Cigarettes? I don't know if I would do that just because I have no interest in it, but maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe pick a live stream topic. Send question or get questions answered. Maybe. I mean, you could always ask it in the chat, but if it's a long question, get detailed. Pick a live stream topic, something like that. I don't know what, and then also I'll probably would do like I don't know. Like it would be maybe like $33 for a private call. But how long should that be? I don't know. I got to think about the rate. Maybe it's like 20 minutes. And then 40 minutes. And then 1 hour. So this would be like gosh, people are gonna jump on me for that. But whatever. This is not set in stone, but this is just like I wanted to see some opinions on the chat. Like I want this to be valuable. I don't want to just be like, oh, you'll get access to my content a day early. Like that's not valuable. It might be to you because you want it, but that doesn't mean that it's actually valuable. Like you could wait a day. And I put them up anyways immediately. So it's like that's not like I'm delaying them. So it's not even like you can wait a day. You're not even waiting. I don't want to make people wait. That's the point. So that's pretty much what's going on with this. I might just change this entire system, I guess. So it would be like $4, $9, and $19. Passive supporter. I don't know. Maybe this is just like support. And it would just be like gives access. I don't know. That's not, there's got to be some kind of something. I don't want to say passive. I don't like know why people value shoutouts, but they do. Shoutouts and questions answered. So like if you ask a question, I'd be like, this one comes from Timothy. He wants to know, about what black holes are, probably, or something. Or what sentient singularity contextualizes black holes as being. So, at least for now. I think it'll be like that. So that's like and then this would be like this has been such a challenge for me. I'm not the money man. I know some people would think so. Last name Goldstein and all. But I'm not. I don't really care about money much. But I would like to buy a house for my family. But this is probably what it's going to be. So what do you guys think of that? If you're in the chat, if anybody's in the chat, as far as Patreon goes, I think it's better than what it currently is, which is just like general support, working sessions, video requests, topic requests. I guess it's almost the exact same thing, actually. It's literally almost the exact same thing. But I want to add something else. That's the thing that's different, is this part of it. Right here. This is the part that's new. And it's much more valuable than this stuff. I mean, it's not that this is not valuable to me. I'm just saying, like, if you are supporting this project, I do think that there's value in supporting this project. If I didn't think that, I wouldn't be donating all my time to working on it. But and I think that it's valuable to mankind. That's why I do it. But so, you know, I do think there is some return for this, the advancement of science. You know, to see this project, to be able to watch you know, this content in general, just to support that it exists. If you get a lot of value from it, I get a lot of value from a lot of people's channels, and some of those I get so much value from that I donate, and I'm a patron to their Patreon, and I don't expect anything in return other than I like their content, and I think it's I watch it, and I think it's valuable. But actually don't think anything should be free, and we live in a world where all this stuff is free, and that's great. But it's also like, imagine how intentional you would be at watching some content online if you had to pay for every single view that you did, like half a penny or something. You would be more intentional. But and I think that's actually the way that it should be. I think it is actually the way that it will be, blockchain and things like that. But and crypto as we go forward, NFTs, smart contracts, as all that stuff becomes more mature, we're gonna start paying for every content that we watch. You're not gonna be able to watch eventually like any Theory of Everyone videos for free, probably. and that's not because I don't want it to be, but it's just because no videos will probably be free in the future. It's going to be that, there's two potentialities. I'm not going to get too into it because it has to do with what a project that I'm working on. But there's like two roads that you can go down to as far as the future of just internet monetization, content monetization. So, how long have we been streaming? That's pretty much that. Lots of updates coming. Also, you can see here, I've been working on some thumbnails. These are horrible. I know that. I know it's horrible. You don't need to tell me. Not these. These are actually great, but this is just not, it's not unique, and I want something a little bit unique for every single one, not just like the same exact thing. So if you're a member of the Discord community, I would love some assistance on this with people who are more artistically talented than me. I've done this basically type of thing for now. I did that last night. I know it's horrible. I don't like it. I'm gonna change it, but I just needed something that like gave some information. You can see it's like pasted. It looks horrible, but it's fine for now. It's meant to be temporary. But I have like the lists of bad words on the sides for this episode. But it needs to be something that's easy, where I can just like take a screenshot from that stream and like paste it into like a template that's ready made, where the logo is there and everything like that already, and the style is consistent. So it needs to have some kind of consistency. Let's look at like Lex Friedman's, or Kurt. We'll look at Lex and Kurt and typed theory of Kurt. Okay. This is great. I mean, this is just much more mature and fleshed, I guess, like mature in its evolution is what I mean. I don't mean like it's more mature and I'm immature. I mean like this is much more evolved. And you can see back here where there's not the same level of, I mean, it's just like 2 videos or 3, but there isn't a specific thumbnail, but the rest of them do, and it's very consistent, but it's also unique in each one because it's a different person's face. And like for my content, it would be different because I'm not doing a bunch of interviews like this, at least not currently. I do plan on eventually interviewing quite a number of people, and like I said, Robert Edward Grant is coming soon, and there's a few others that I'm working on, but it's not meant to be the same type of channel as this, but because there is the center of my content is my theory. It's not other people's theories, even though I do want to touch on other people's theories, but that's not the point of doing this project. Whereas it is the point of this project. At least it seems to be. But I will say this, Brian Keating is the first interview on here. That's pretty cool. And then Eric, that makes sense. Eric Weinstein's interview by Kurt Mongol, I will say, is the best interview I've ever seen Eric give, I think. And I didn't know that he had done that for I don't even know, probably like a year. Jonathan Pegu, or I think that's how you pronounce his name. Metaphor versus literal, that's going to be interesting. I haven't seen that, but that's a good person to have on the Theory of Everything podcast. Interesting. Rebecca Goldstein, probably related. Okay, let's look at Brian Keating. His content is probably not as I don't know like what it's been like lately, but it's definitely much more ironed out than it was, like 4 months ago, 5 months ago. But it's maybe 6 months ago at this point. But it's definitely also it's not as consistent as like her Giant Mungo's channel. But this is still developing a consistency. Looks good, much better than my thumbnail that I made last night. But that was, like I said, it's just temporary. And then who else do I want to look at? Lex Friedman. Lex's content is like probably the most, I guess, he's just been at it longer than any of these three people. You can see very, very simple thumbnails. Also centered around interviews, so it has a style that I can't really do because I don't have like people that I'm interviewing to put people's face on it. The future of Neuralink, I'm gonna watch that. I didn't know that he did that. Neural networks learning spirals, I'm gonna watch that. That's fascinating too. And Python, I did watch that, but I don't remember any of it. So I probably started it and then walked away. I do want to learn like some Python coding. But it's very, I mean, just black. And it looks good. Black with some text. And someone's photo. Lex Friedman. What is that from? Is that from, what's it called? Space Odyssey. I've never been able to stay awake for Space Odyssey. Every time I've watched it, I've fallen asleep. I haven't tried to watch it in years, but every time I have watched it, I have fallen asleep. Here's something actually that's kind of interesting. So there's a very famous couple photographers that I like, and they are famous for taking photos of snakes. And one of them wrote a book, has a photo book called Serpentine, and the other one is this guy Guido. That's the name of the guy who took these photos. Very consistent, just a bunch of different species of snakes, and he's done a heck of a lot of different kinds. They're way more than even that. I made like this like cool collage of it. But the snake behind me is one of those photos that he took, and then I made it into like I altered it in Photoshop to make it look like a painting, and I put it there. And I'm not selling it or anything like that, but I'm gonna give him a shout out right here. There is somebody who I did an interview with, by the way, a while back, and I have it recorded, and I wish he would let me just put it out there, because he won't let me. He's just not used to doing like live streams, and he knows I have a recording, but he wanted me to just like talk about the call that we had, and it is Anton Baker, and he's a sculptor, and this is. Maybe he would be willing to come on at this point. I think he's done more like public stuff at this point. I mean, we had a great discussion. It was amazing. His mentor's mentor was MC Escher. His work is incredible. And I really appreciate the time that he gave me. I just have not had the time to turn it into a podcast, because I didn't know how. But it's actually easy to do. I just need to literally make a video where I'm just basically repeating exactly what is said in this call, which he'd be fine with. He was just shy, to be honest. He wasn't It wasn't like he didn't want to be associated or something. But here's his website. We did have Nico Meyer, who's a friend of mine, on the stream, and I highly suggest you watch that if you're into art. He made this hop vibration sculpture, and he does like a lot of digital mathematical sculptures, and that are somewhat dynamic and like that. I mean, his work is incredible. We're gonna have him back actually pretty soon, but I might ask Anton Baker if he'll come back. He might. And then I wanted to do Guido snakes photos. So this guy is who took the photo that is behind me. It's my favorite snake in the world. It's this right here, the Western green mamba. They are super toxic snakes. This is Eastern green mambas. They don't have that. They're like a solid green, whereas the Western green mambas are like this. This is a great photo of Western green mambas, where they've got these. Every scale is outlined. They look like a machine. It's probably the second most toxic mamba after the black mamba. It's one of the most toxic snakes in the world, and they're just beautiful. Like, they're absolutely stunning. I want some, but Paulina said no. I also value my life. So this is him, Guido Macapaco. And I mean, we seem to have like some serious interest overlaps. This is like some awesome firearms photography. And then here's serpents. Serpens. Rainbow boas, Cinnalone milk snakes, Bothrops vipers, Indian cobras, red spitting cobras, king rat snakes, Central American rattlesnakes, king snakes, canebrake rattlesnakes, boa constrictors, copperheads, more boa constrictors. Like, I know every snake in the world, and I'm not really exaggerating at all when I say that. There's green mambas. Those are Eastern green mambas, spitting cobras, spilotes, rat snakes, which are called tiger rat snakes, squamager pit vipers. He does amazing work. These are eyelash vipers. These are forest cobras, black and white spinning cobras. This is a Western green mamba, my favorite snake, that is in the painting, the photo behind me, but this is just a yellow one. This is a king cobras right here. White lip pythons. These are green mambas, both of these. Yep, there's two yellow ones and two green ones in this photo. This is my favorite snake photo ever taken. It's just absolutely incredible. They're like just a work of art. That species of snake. Egyptian cobras. So many cool things going on. $1,000. That's pretty cool. I like his photography style. It's very simple, but it's also it's like descriptive, or it's documentary in some way. Movement. That's cool. I have to give him a shout out if his photo is, behind me. And then the other one is Serpentine book. It's what I want for my birthday. This book. I think my wife is going to get it for me. It's not cheap. One day she'll get it for me. $120. So he did all these types of very similar snake photos to the other guy, but these were not they're not in the same position in like a little square. Look at that flying snake. But this guy who wrote Serpentine, or not wrote it, but his name is Mark Leda. So I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but he had a very crazy event, actually, and let me show you this, how crazy this was. He was bit by a black mamba while he was taking photos. And black mambas are famous for never giving what's called a dry bite, and he's one of the only dry bites on record of a black mamba. So basically, he didn't even need antivenom, and it hit an artery. So it's like it was going to be real bad. Where's the photo of him getting bit? Okay, here we go. Let's see here. And sending it to my computer. Okay. And I'm going to go. But God was looking out. But here's the thing about this. He's taking this photo of this black mamba. And this is the photo right here. Okay, here we go. This photo. He's taking this photo of a black mamba, and someone tripped over a cord, and the cord hit the mamba, and the mamba freaked out, and this was the next photo that he took. It's literally latched onto his leg, fangs sunk into his artery. It could have killed him in like 20 minutes if it had envenomated him. It's a pretty big black mamba too. They get huge. They're like the second biggest venomous snake in the world. But, that he didn't know he took this photo until later when he was going through his photos after this whole ordeal. He found this photo. He didn't realize that he had taken the photo. He pressed the shutter out of just like reaction, like because he was being bitten, and he like clenched up. He didn't intentionally take this photo. So he ended up first taking a great photo, probably one of the best photos of a black mamba ever taken. Then gets bit by a black mamba, and it's one of the only dry bites on record where he's not envenomated. And that usually happens when it's purely a defensive bite, like the snake freaks out and bites out of defense. If a snake bites you because it thinks you're food, that's when you get the most venom. Or when you piss it off, that's because you won't leave it alone. That's when you're going to get a lot of venom. But dry bite, and he also got a photo of probably one of the most badass photos you could ever get. These are just a collection. It's basically a collage I made of a bunch of his snake photos. Cobras. King Cobra in the center. Amazing. Mambas. This is that guy Guido's work here and here, and then this is Mark's work. I would love to interview him. That would be awesome. Here actually though. This is a photo, the last photo that I want to show that he took. And I just found this. Where is it? Where did it go? Okay, here. I found it. It's just my computer's going very slowly. Okay, this photo is a photo that was taken by Mark. I just don't want to mispronounce his name. Mark Leta. And he didn't take this one behind me, but that was taken by, as I said before, Guido Macafico. But Mark Leta took this photo. And what's that I'm about to show you. And what's interesting is that this is my favorite snake. This is my favorite photo turned into a painting, essentially, of my favorite snake. And the reason why I like them is because they, to me, look like they're machines. Like they are, they're overlapping scales. I thought it's the perfect snake to represent a serpent. Like the serpent that is in the Bible, that is meant to represent like technology, essentially. And so they look like technology. And what's interesting is that these were taken by, Guido Macafico, but Mark Leta took this one. And he didn't use a Western green mamba. This is an Eastern green mamba, but it's a green mamba, and he put it with technology, with a computer chip. And that is not a coincidence. I found that this week. I didn't even know that he had taken this photo. This is an incredible photo. And what's interesting is that in this one photo, everything behind me is encapsulated. So what you have here is you have the creation of Adam painting, and then somebody had altered it to put an android head on God's body, and then on Adam it has a robot hand. And so basically this is a concept dealing with humanity and technology and God and the relationship between them, which there is a relationship there. But That's like the masculine intentional side, and this is the more feminine, you know, unintentional side, and it also has usually this that I forgot to put up today. But that knife, designed by Kiku Matsuda, and it's the most quintessential. A knife is the most quintessential technological development ever made. Is a sharpened edge. The only thing that came before it is a hammer, which is just basically you hit something with a rock. But after that hitting something with a rock, you didn't have to make a rock into a hammer; it just was. But you had to kind of make a rock into a knife, and that's why it's the quintessential tool, and it's the foundational technology. And that's why I have it here on this side, and this knife does not have a goal of its own. That's why it's reactive. It's not active, essentially. This is a fiber bundle represents a mind. It's sentient or intentional, and then there's like that relationship there, and then there's also just the serpent there, and this is all meant to represent humanity and technology and God, and I have a green mamba as part of that, like visualization, and then this photo is taken. That's awesome. Like, why a green mamba? I've never seen any other snake taken with a photo like this, where it's like obviously just to represent technology, or like it's a snake with technology. It's not. You don't know what this is a chip for. It's not like it's a snake and phone or something. It's a snake and technology. It's fascinating. It's a wonderful photo too. Like, that's incredible. Green mamba's not as deadly as Western green mamba is more deadly than an Eastern green mamba. It's more of a handful too. This one, but yeah, knives are a quintessential tool. This is my latest one. It is called the Civivi. I got it today, actually. It's called the Civivi something. I don't even know anymore. I forgot it. I forgot. It's a Civivi, which is the name of the brand. And Civivi is like Toyota, and their brand that is Lexus is WE, and WE makes like this pen and also some of my favorite knives that I have that are expensive. This knife is not very expensive right here that I got, but it's a button lock, which is like my favorite. So a flipper on a knife is when you have something like this that allows you to open it. It's not a switchblade. Switchblade, you would press this button and it would open. But this is a manual action knife. There's no like automatic action. It's just I'm pressing down on that, and it's like it's that part of it, and it just flips the knife out. But then to release it, you press this button, and it now like unlocks it, and you can. What's cool about this is you can annoy your wife all day long while you're just like fidgeting, and you just click away. It's very fidget friendly, as they call it. But what's interesting about this knife is this is the first Damascus steel blade that I have ever bought, which it means that the steel has all these layers. Well, there you go. It like focused really well for a minute. There you go. All those layers. The steel's folded a bunch of times, different kinds of steel, and then polished and treated to reveal the layers. It's really beautiful. I mean, it's It's really quite beautiful. But yeah, cool little knife. I recommend, if you're going to look for a pocket knife, I highly recommend the brand Civivi. Like, hands down, any knife that you get from them is going to be super quality and also not very expensive. Like, their knives are like, I mean, I think all of them basically are under $100. Some of them are like $30. And they're all great. So I recommend that if you are looking for a pocket knife, and if you don't have a pocket knife, you should get a pocket knife, especially if you're a man. But that is everything for today. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification. I think if there is one, and to get, be notified whenever we go live or whenever I upload content. There is content coming that's not going to be live content. When I release my paper, I'm also going to do an entire not live breakdown of a video associated with the paper as I go through the paper, basically. But it's not going to be live. It's going to be well edited and high quality and concise, not rambling and informal. But yeah, that's that. Tomorrow is our Discord call, 7 p.m. If you want to join, send me a private message on Instagram and I will send you the link. And if you have any thoughts on merch that you would like to see, or I guess value that you think you could, an idea for something valuable to come from the use of Patreon, let me know in the comments, or send me a private message on Instagram is probably better. I'm just not good at like commenting back, and just I don't use YouTube for like a social platform that is other than just stream and talk to you guys in the chat. I don't like post many comments or anything like that, but I'll try and get better at it. That's mainly for Discord and for those who want to actually start diving into the project more. I get too many questions that are like, well, what's the application of Sentient Singularity Theory? And it's like, that's like asking what's the application of the theory of evolution. It's not or what's the application of the standard model in physics? Or what's the application of general relativity? It's just, there's endless answers to that question. So, and if you want to dive deeper into it, then Discord is the best place to do it, because I can't really give a satisfactory answer to questions like that in YouTube comments or even Instagram comments. But with that, hope everyone has had a good week, and if you're going to be on the call tomorrow, I will speak with you tomorrow. Otherwise,